Okay. Read it to yourselves, just to be familiar with it. Okay. Welcome to our Pride service. One of Humanistic Judaism's core values is radical inclusion. Our Jewish communities are diverse, and we want to embrace variety as an integral part of who we are, because humankind is enriched by the multiple voices that are heard throughout the Jewish community. Today, we celebrate LGBTQ plus Pride 2026. Could somebody read the English? And we'll say it all together. Actually, let's unmute and all say it together.
Blessed
is the
This is the
strength
strength within us, which has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season
with pride.
נברך את הכוח בתוכנו שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה בגאווה. Please remember to remute.
הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לי 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 לי, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לי 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 לי, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, 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 ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, שבת טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לי 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 לי
הן חיים בשמחה, שמחה, שמחה, שמחה. בואו לקהל ברננה, נה 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 נה. אהבו הן החיים בשמחה, שמחה, שמחה, שמחה. בואו לקהל ברננה, נה 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 נה. לה 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 לה. לה 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 לה. לה 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 לה. לה 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 לה.
While we sing with joy, we recognize that there are those present who may be in mourning, remembering those they have lost. And to them we say these words of consolation. Timsu betochechem nechama umenucha. May you find within you comfort and rest. Could somebody read the English?
Sing a song for the Sabbath day. Oh, sorry.
No, you can go ahead.
Okay, cool. Sing a song for a Sabbath day. It's good to be thankful to life and to express this with happy songs on this day. It is a time to develop our empathy from the morning and our loving kindness by night, to play instruments of all kinds, and a time for solemn moments. Let our works be loving and great, and our thoughts be deep and mindful. The upright will bloom like the date palm, growing tall like the cedars of Lebanon, bearing fruit in their old age, full of sap and still green.
Thank you.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לחיים, ולזמר בשמחה היום, ולזמר בשמחה היום. להגיד בבוקר חסדנו, ועמיתותינו בלילות. עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לחיים, ולזמר בשמחה היום, ולזמר בשמחה היום. להגיד בבוקר חסדנו, ועמיתותינו בלילות. מה גדלו מעשי אהבה, מאוד עמקו מחשבותינו. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לחיים, ולזמר בשמחה היום, ולזמר בשמחה היום. צדיק אתה אמר יפרח, כארז בלבנון ישגה. יאי לי 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 לי. Lie, 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 lie. Od yenuvun beseva, deshenim verananim yiyu. Ya lie, 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 lie. Yai lai 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 lai.
Could somebody read this, please?
We look around and see a world of endless change and diversity. As we rejoice in the variety of creation, we come to accept our own uniqueness. As we delight in our uniqueness, we appreciate all human diversity and live at peace with ourselves and with all around us.
Thank you. Listen, Yisrael, we are all one and our purpose is one. Come, let us work together to improve this world. Shema Yisrael, kulanu echad, ve'yehudenu echad. Hava navod, letaken et haolam hazeh. And we will love life with all our heart, with all our soul, and with all that we are. We place these words in our hearts and souls, binding them as a sign on our hands and as a reminder between our eyes. We will teach them to the younger generations, and we will talk about them while sitting in our homes, walking on the road, lying down and getting up. And we will write them on the doorposts of our houses and on our gates. And may our days and the days of our children be prolonged for as long as the heavens are above the earth. Please rise in body or spirit. And could somebody please read this?
Let us regard as holy. Go ahead.
Let us regard as holy our commitments to ethics, to justice, to truth, and to human dignity. Let us sanctify life through our choices and dedicate the everyday to acts of compassion and integrity. Blessed are we when we bring holiness, not by ritual alone, but through deeds of justice. We give thanks for life, for community, for family, and for our loved ones, and for our freedom. In a world of scarcity, we pause to appreciate what we have. In a culture of constant dissatisfaction, we engage in the fundamental practice of gratitude. Somebody else, should I continue?
Blessed are we when we recognize the abundance in our lives and give thanks for all that we have received. We will work together to build a world of human dignity, recognizing the bond that links all human beings and every nation. We will pursue peace within ourselves, in our relationships, in our communities, and between nation and nation. Blessed are we when we become makers of peace and builders of bridges over all that divides us.
May I guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking deceit. And to those who curse me, let my soul be silent, and let my inner being be calm and my heart open.
ולמקללי נפשי תדום ונפשי תהיה שקטה ולמקללי נפשי תדום ונפשי תהיה שקטה וליבי ייפתח אשמרה לשוני מרע ושפתי מדבר מרמה אשמרה לשוני מרע ושפתי מדבר מרמה ולמקללי נפשי תדום ונפשי תהיה שקטה ולמקללי נפשי תדום ונפשי תהיה שקטה וליבי ייפתח.
Pause for silent reflection. Let us make peace in the world. Please let us make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all humanity. And we say, Amen.
Na'aseh shalom ba'olam, na'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'nomar, nomar amen. Na'aseh shalom ba'olam, na'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'nomar, nomar amen. Na'aseh shalom ba'olam, na'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'nomar, nomar amen. Na 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 na. Na'aseh shalom, na'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Na'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'nomar, nomar amen.
We now turn our minds and hearts towards those who need our love, who are ill, who are lonely, who suffer pain, or who have been wronged. Please call out their names.
Karen,
Andrew,
Robert.
Deborah,
May there be a complete renewal for those who are sick, a renewal of spirit, a renewal of body, and we say, Amen. Yeh na refuah shlema lacholim, refuat hanefesh urefuat haguf, venomar, Amen. Please be seated. Could somebody read this, please? And then there is a second page as well.
Growing up in a culture where you are not supposed to exist, you become accustomed to the generosity of people trying to fix you, to force you into a shape they can understand. I did not know how exhausting it was trying to remain elastic in a world that demands us to be static, trapping us in binary boxes where we wilt in our own confinement. But against societal expectations, we refuse to suffocate ourselves for your comfort. Together we will stand in the light, heads held high with unmatched pride for who we have fought too long and too hard for our right to be here, to live silently with our heads bowed low any longer.
Thank you. Now it's a time for sharing our local LGBTQ plus experiences. So it's just open discussion.
I was just going to say, I really like being part of this community. It's really nice as a Jewish person to be able to go to something where there isn't really a mold of how you're supposed to be living or kind of the life you're supposed to have, and just being able to come and show up kind of really authentically and be yourself is really nice.
yeah. You'd
You're muted.
you'd originally wanted sort of positive stuff. So since there's mixed these days. But we thought for us, being two women together, we could, in a world where there's straight and non-Jew and Christian, basically, world, you don't have these automatic roles. The guy does this, the girl does that. So you have to be creative and determine who's going to do what and that sort of thing. And that's a big joy because you really do pay attention to what a person really wants to do and what they're like, and that's wonderful. And that intersects with humanistic Judaism because you also look at the whole framework of even among the traditional Judaism and decide what works for you, what enhances your life, and what you can't relate to. And so you make the similar choices. So we think there's a great intersection there of the two, to be creative about both aspects.
That works for us.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
That's how we do it, yeah.
And I first moved to London 14 years ago. I had never been to a LGBT synagogue before, and I went to one for the first time, and I looked around the room and saw older couples, men and women, and everyone in between, who were, some of them were couples that had been together for 50 years or more. Like, I don't want to say 50, but like yourselves.
42.
42, yeah, they're not far off. And it was a very emotional experience. And I immediately knew that younger generations need to be able to see that, because when I was an 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old coming out as gay, there weren't any, it was very binary. There was, if you were religious, it was not the place for you for most people, at least in the popular, broader world, like you said, the Christian world. And the gay scene, as we call it, was not welcoming of people who were religious either. So I always kept in mind something that happened when I was a teenager, and I went to a liberal shul, and the rabbi, who was a woman, had said that the movement was pushing for equal marriage, and it was quite a long time before they achieved that. But the first same-sex wedding in the United Kingdom was held in a Reform synagogue. So there was this message from when I was younger that there was a place for me, at least in the future. And it took a while for me to find that, but I did find it. And now, as a humanistic Jew, I do feel like all of my the intersections of my identity come together in a way that's, there's no cognitive dissonance. My religion, my queerness, my ethics, my belief in human rights, my morality, all part of the same system. I don't have to hide who I am, and everything just comes together very well. So that's something that makes me very proud to be part of the LGBTQ community and a religious person. Should I read what's being written? Eleanor's just finished reading Chutzpah by Yehudis Fletcher. I know Yehudis, that my friend had a part in writing with her. It's such a strong story about the bravery of choosing to stay and live her truth. Highly recommended. Yes, Yehudis, people ask Yehudis, why didn't you dare to leave the Haredi community? And she says, I dared to stay. So that's some context to that. And then Leon says, I'm very visibly queer, even have a tattoo about it, and I'm a therapist for children and young adults. Some of them are finding their queer identity themselves right now, and it's always obvious how relieving it is for them to see someone like me. To know reaching queer adult happiness is possible. Other kids at work have had truly very curious and open reactions to seeing me come in with a beard and a skirt. and we're excited to learn. And we're excited to learn. I'm very privileged to be able to be so visibly queer without much danger, and I'm always happy when I can tell it's having an impact. Well done. Yeah. So let's hear some more thoughts. If you don't consider yourself LGBTQ and you consider yourself an ally, you're also welcome to share.
Hi, I'm on the autism spectrum. I wonder if that counts.
Oh, sure.
Do you want to say more?
I, I'm interested in studying theology and autism and seeing using queer studies and disability studies to look at theology and autism through an autistic lens.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I know I've spoken already, but this is the one place where I find we really, all of us, bring our whole selves. Like the non-binary person says, this is the one place. We have other friendly spaces for one thing or another, but here you can really be everything, and that's really it's a good thing to have such a place.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have a personal story, but I've lived long enough to see such dramatic changes. 20 years ago, I was going door to door for some political cause, and a transgender woman opened the door in fear because she didn't know that she was safe anywhere. And it was very, very disturbing because it was new to me to have that kind of interaction, and very disturbing that this was the world that she was living in. On another basis, of the four Reform and conservative synagogues here in Richmond, Virginia, the rabbis for three of the four are women. One of them is clearly a gay couple. Her wife is often the cantor. Another woman is living with her male spouse, but they are not married. So there's all kinds of spaces that are acceptable that were not just 20 years ago.
I I I like how people say when people hear that I go to regularly to a synagogue, and they're a bit they're quite often a bit surprised, and they assume all kinds of things both about my politics and um my stance on all kinds of issues. When they just hear you go to a synagogue, there's something they think. And I love telling people it's not the case anymore, but there was for a long time a cantor who was lesbian, and she was married to a rabbi. So when you say, "Oh, that's the rabbi's wife," they assume that means she's married to a man, but it's not. She's married to a woman. And then they go, "Oh, how has that gone in the community?" And it's like, "Oh, it's completely fine." And they're surprised. Um, I don't know if it's true to say we live in a bubble. But in the UK, progressive Jews are I think now that the Reform and Liberal Judaism were two separate denominations, but they've united, they've joined forces. So now I think it's almost equal numbers to Orthodox. So it's not like in the USA where you have Reform as the majority. So I don't know if that means that we live in a little bit of a bubble. Do you know what I mean? But it's still a fact that we have religious leaders in our community who are LGBT. We also have I think there's a couple of trans rabbi students at the moment. The Leo Beck College, which is our main progressive rabbinic college, or the only one, I should say, in the UK. I think something like 50% or 45% of student rabbis there are LGBT. So, or if that's over a few years or something, but it's at least 50, something like 50%. So it's the norm for us, you know. And in humanistic Judaism, there's no question whatsoever. There's no issue. There's no history of humanistic rabbis having gone through periods where they were less accepted, which is the case for Reform. That, you know, there were issues prior to the 80s, I suppose. But in humanistic Judaism, there's never been an issue, which is one of the good things about it being a new movement. So, yeah. So what other experiences do we have?
Yeah, I agree with you. When you say to people, "Oh, I've gone to synagogue," people like make quite a lot of assumptions. And I remember it was about 2 or 3 years ago. It was around a Purim, and I said to some of my friends at work, we were having coffee on Monday morning. I said, "Oh, I had a great time. It's Purim." And they said, "What did you do?" I said, "Oh, I went to a Purim drag at synagogue." And they were all like, "A drag show at synagogue?" And I was like, "Yeah, it was really fun." But they just couldn't put the two together. And then when I told them and showed them photos, they were like, "Oh, wow." And it like changed their opinions, which was nice.
Hmm. Victoria, you also grew up Reform or Liberal?
Yeah, reform mostly. Yeah.
Reform, yeah. It's a little bit more conservative than Liberal, but it's pretty much along the same lines. Do you remember LGBT rabbis or the
Not
thing about gay
really.
marriage? Uh-huh.
No, I remember the bits about gay marriage. It was like
Hmm.
2013. I remember it being quite exciting in my friendship group. We were all like, oh, because me and my partner had a civil partnership in 2012. So we were like,
Hmm.
oh, okay. But at the same time, I don't remember anyone in our community particularly. But there
Hmm.
probably were people, but I just didn't pay attention probably because I was quite young.
Yeah, because there's David Mitchell, who wrote a book. I can't remember what the name of the book is, but he wrote a book about it. It's from West London Synagogue. The West London Synagogue
Oh,
is
wow.
it's the oldest Reformed synagogue in Britain. I think it was founded in 1840.
It's beautiful.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a really beautiful building. It's like what's the word? Neo-Moorish, you
That
know, that
makes
style.
sense. It's
Yeah,
gorgeous. Yeah.
yeah, and it was originally a Sephardi
Yeah, I thought it
communication
was.
community. Yeah, and that's another thing that people don't know, that in the UK, reform was started by a Sephardi family, like a
That makes
group of
sense to me,
Sephardim.
actually. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense. Yeah.
yeah. Which is not the case in America, where American reform was started by Germans.
Oh,
Um, yeah.
Well, the
wow.
reform
Uh,
movement itself was started by Germans, I think.
yes, yes.
They
Oh,
just came here, but when they did
Yes.
adapt it in England, it was wonderful.
Exactly. No,
oh,
so
wow.
the reform movement in the UK is different from the reform movement in the United States.
Mm.
Um, and it's actually more conservative in a lot of areas. But it was founded by a group of Sephardi families that didn't want to walk to Bevis Marks, which is the oldest synagogue in Britain, also
Which one
Sephardi.
is more conservative? Which reform?
Reform,
Ours or yours?
not ours.
Okay. Well, it's
I mean,
interesting.
I say conservative. It's not like extremely conservative. It's just a
No,
bit
I
more
realize.
conservative.
Well,
Yeah.
what happened when I
Yeah.
was growing up in Reform Synagogue, it was the time when it was most Christian-like. You know,
Oh,
the rabbi wore a robe, and we had an organ
wow.
and a paid choir.
Class,
You know,
classic
and all this
reform.
stuff. It was, you know, very Christian-like, and they did go through a period like that. And then right after I moved away, the Reform movement became more traditional. They started wearing tallit. They started doing things more in Hebrew. I mean, we had Hebrew and all that, but they went away from that Christian-y look, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's nice for me. I mean, it was weird, but I didn't go much because we were not. I only went for one solid year because my older brother decided to have a bar mitzvah, and which he wanted to do it for the presents. We were not a religious family, but we had to belong to a temple though, because the social life. I grew up in a rural kind of area, and your social life was around your church, so we had to belong to the Jewish community in some way. And there was a Jewish community center where all my socialization was done, but that's not a temple, that's a center.
Yeah, we also had a rabbi that passed away called Lionel Blue. And he wrote some very interesting stuff, and he trained a lot of the rabbis actually. So he's another figure. Sherwin Wine was gay. Rabbi Sherwin Wine. Yeah. The founder of Humanistic Judaism. There was Sheila Shulman, who started the first LGBT synagogue in the UK. And she and her colleague, Rabbi Eli Tikvasera, who's the Rabbi Emeritus of Brighton and Hove Progressive Synagogue. Brighton is a very LGBT area. They studied together, and they had to go through a lot of extra restrictions and extra kind of moral requirements on them that non-gay rabbi students didn't have. And Rabbi Sheila Shulman refused to study the Talmud.
Oh, wow.
So she kicked her heels and whatever the phrase is, dug her heels in, and got her sneaker without having studied the Talmud, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah. And she wrote a book called Waiting for Morning or something. Which is really, I recommend that. Sheila Shulman. Her name is quite ironic, Shulman. And then who else is there? There's quite a lot of people. We have a question. One might wonder what the stance of the Reconstructionist movement on LGBT is. Oh, it's the same as Reform. Rabbi Amy Bernstein of Keilat Israel in Palisades. They're really big Reconstructionist community, although I think I don't know if they've left Reconstructionism or reconstructing Judaism, or if they're what they are at the moment, because there's been like a split over Zionism. But Amy Bernstein is herself gay, and she's been hosting a podcast for at least the last 10 years, which I listen to every week, and it's really good. Yeah.
The split over Zionism and all. We have our gay community here is centered around the Bayard Rustin Center for Social Justice, and it's a very friendly place. They are non-political completely, which is very helpful. But we have a Pride Parade this year, and we have them every year since 2019. And I just wouldn't bring a pride flag with a Jewish star on it, because I would feel it would be announcing to be political, even though I wouldn't be meaning it that way. I don't do that because I fear there would then be protests, it would invite protests of some sort. So I don't combine them visually in this public place during the parade, because I feel it would be considered political, even though I wouldn't be saying it's political. But I feel that it would be inviting, politics
and as part of the Rustin Center, which is
they're wonderful. We don't have a problem there,
but
they simply are not political.
It's a non-political nonprofit. I mean,
Yeah.
Technically, they're not supposed to be.
Well, they're not supposed, it's a nonprofit in this country, 501c. You can't advocate for a person, a candidate,
Yeah.
but you can advocate for legislation and things like that. So if there were such a thing and it were, I don't know, I mean, they're obviously very liberal, they are very woke, very, everything. But I'm not worried there that there'll be any blowback for being Jewish, or that people will
No, but
have any expectation, political expectation for
Mm.
that in this
Mm.
particular place, which is good.
But we had been, excuse me, at a protest in town, just a regular political one.
Yeah.
Where there was.
Yeah, there are
lots of-
sometimes protesters, but they're pretty anemic, thankfully,
Yeah.
around the edges. And like we have these No Kings rallies because we have a king aspiring president. And there are occasionally protests. They're irrelevant to the point of the protest, but they're pretty anemic. They don't really hijack the whole event or do anything like that. So
this year, the Pride Parade, in the Pride Parade, there were Jewish groups led by Progressive Judaism, and they didn't have issues. They haven't reported any issues.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
You were going to say that?
I was going to say the same. I was going to say, yeah, that it was really nice this year that there were no issues. And like last year, it was like, we don't want to go. And then this year it was like, let's go. And yeah, no one gave us any trouble or anything. So that was really nice.
You were there?
For like 10 minutes.
Okay.
I just popped in, said hi to my friends and went to lunch. But yeah, they said it was a really good day.
Good. Yeah, because the past couple of years, people have been worried about it. And Jewish groups didn't attend because they felt that they weren't provided security, which is different from not being allowed to march, which people like Hen Mazig posted lots of videos saying that Jews were not allowed to march at Pride. That isn't true. They didn't get given extra security. So there's an issue there, but it's different from not being allowed to march. This year, however, it was very different. And yeah, there were no issues. It was nice to see.
Well, we did have a problem here, the Dyke March.
Well,
yes.
Essentially kicked the Jews out, the
Yes.
Jewish Muslims out, and they formed their own march. So it's a problem around the edges, but we don't live in a city, and we don't have a big enough Pride Parade for there to be a Jewish presence because there isn't any.
Well, it's also a very unique kind of town. It's a university town. It's a
big university town.
Yeah. Different, but New York there are big issues happening, but that's a whole other story. Yeah. It's a whole other story.
Okay. If nobody has anything else to share, I can move on with the service. Okay, let's unmute. I will read the yellow, and then we can all together read the white. May it be so that this pride bring us joy and celebration and a long life. A life of safety, a life of healing, a life of financial stability and housing, a life of love and support, a life of blessing and sharing of gifts, a life free of shame and reproach, a life of friendship, partnership, and love in the ways we wish to give and receive it, a life with dreams of the future. May we join with all those who have moved from oppression to freedom. May we learn the wisdom to know our liberations are entwined together with all marginalized people. And let's say together, may we experience liberation, us and the entire world. And we say, Amen. Please stand as able. We turn our hearts and minds to honor the lives that have been tragically lost to homophobia, transphobia, interphobia, and racism. We recall the individuals whose love was taken from us, and we hold their memories close, vowing to continue the fight for justice, equality, and acceptance. We recall those who are no longer with us. If you are remembering anyone at this point in time, please say their names aloud.
Ruth Mirsky.
May there be a good remembrance and compassion and kindness and love from all the world upon our honourable loved ones who are no longer present. Let us make a place in our hearts to remember their good names, and let us honour them with good deeds. May their memory be a blessing. Amen. Yeheina zichron tov v'chesed v'rachamim v'ahava mikol ha'olam לכבוד אהובינו שאינם עוד. אבל ננצור בליבנו את שמותיהם הטובים ונוקירם במעשים טובים. זיכרונם לברכה. Amen. Please be seated. And we now turn to our Kiddush. So please get whatever it is you use for Kiddush ready, and also whatever you use for challah, bread, whatever it is. Could somebody who has their wine or juice hold it up for us and read the English?
And we, humanity, keep the Sabbath to observe the Sabbath throughout our generations in an everlasting covenant. For 6 days they worked, and on the seventh day they rested and were refreshed. Therefore, let us bless the Sabbath day and sanctify it. Blessed is the light in life, and blessed is the fruit of the vine to life.
ושומרים בני האדם את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשו מלאכה, וביום השביעי שבתו וינפשו. על כן נברך את יום השבת ונקדשהו. ברוך האור בחיים, וברוך פרי הגפן לחיים. If we can eat and drink together, we can live and love together. So let us bless those that bring forth bread from the earth. נוכל לאכול ולשתות יחדיו, נוכל להיות ולאהוב יחדיו. על כן נברך את המוציאים לחם מן הארץ. Amen. With a spirit of healing and wholeness, let us open our eyes to the gifts and blessings we offer and receive from each other. Let us open our hearts to welcome each other fully and truly. Let us open our hands to embrace, to support, to lift each other. Begila, berina, beshalom, ubriut. With joy, with song, with peace, and with deep friendship. We can read together.
Today,
as
we
celebrate renewal, pride, and community, let us walk together with courage, strength, and compassion to live our stories openly, proudly, and joyfully. May this Shabbat bring you its light, joy, and peace. Hagava Sameach, happy Pride, and Shabbat Shalom.